It is back with Matters of the Heart, Part 2, with psychological performance coach, counselor, Bakkie McCree. Do you agree, Mr. McCree? Ons gesels vanaand oor, as jy nou net aangesluit het, hoekom mans en vrouens, why they tend to move on, have affairs, and sometimes not even move on, but stay in the relationship and just carry on for years until the partner finds out.
Yeah, I think when we spoke on last week on Thursday, we were saying all the,
key reasons.
The elements and key reasons of infidelity, why it's done and all of that. So if we continue on that, you can clearly see that infidelity, where it stems from, why people do it, and you've got to look at all of that. But funny enough, I was just in a conversation before the show, in my kitchen with a lot of people. They're talking about infidelity in a different way, and they were saying how funny it is how we've reached a point in time in our life now where infidelity is so rife. Once a woman, and once a woman gets divorced, you like have 10 men pouncing on her immediately, putting in their CVs, if that's the right term. It's like there's this whole influx of married men just constantly looking, like in a predatory way, looking for women who are single, who are divorced, and they're not faithful in their marriage. And so it's like a bit of a pandemic.
Also, great news tonight. I've got 5 tickets sponsored by San and Adiela Akinding, and they're from Akinding Taxis.
Wow.
Yeah. So we've had Studio 47, Palmer's Mead, Mohammed. We had Claudette of Quality Bake #1, and we've had quite a few tickets that we gave away to some lucky viewers. And I'm going to remind you all the topics that Bakkie and I touch on every single week, whether it's infidelity, erectile dysfunction, intimacy, the list, mouth up, the list goes on. But like Salama mentioned last week, it's all about who am I, discovering yourself, because again, we're going to put a lot of emphasis on the fact that if you don't know yourself, if you haven't found yourself, how do you possibly connect with another person on a deeper level? Is that even possible? So it's a 3-hour workshop. It's next Saturday from 2:30 until 5:30, Saturday the 12th of July, 88 Park Road, Wynberg. That is the venue. We've got Mr. McCree and Salama Abbas, and they will be a host for the afternoon. So I always look forward to connecting with viewers and meeting these people face to face, because you find it's a very safe space, very safe space. So Salama altyd say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, what happens in Park Road stays in Park Road. So what really happens with these workshops, when you pose the question, you can actually remain anonymous. I will go around, hop around, and you can put your question in the box so nobody knows who the question's actually coming from, right? So it's a general question, but the key thing is everybody gets to learn. Everybody, gets a different insight, a different perspective, a different viewpoint, So definitely a workshop not to miss out on.
Alrighty then.
So 5 tickets up for grabs to 5 lucky viewers tonight. Let's move in on the first one.
Mo said, I stayed after being cheated on because I'm comfortable in my habitat. And
that is from?
Mo.
Mo.
It's comfortable in my habitat and I didn't feel like the change.
Okay.
So that's also a very common thing.
Yeah.
You'll find that sometimes when you've been cheated on, and so it's not just with cheating, it's also with basic divorce. You'll find that when people are confronted with the ideology or the idea of getting a divorce, they have to weigh, in many ways, breaking away from a comfort zone that they've created for 15 to 20 years or 10 years, So they bought a home together, they've got maybe 1 or 2 kids.
Or 4 or
there's-
5.
You know, there's financial constraints. So also what's become a common trend in our communities is that people getting divorced and still staying together.
That is so common.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more common
Yeah.
because there's not the financial,
Yeah.
foundation to have.
So
to
you
move
live in
on.
the front room, I'll,
Yeah.
you know,
And-
just
and
kind
so-
of avoid each other.
So as
Yeah.
impractical as it is, people are opting for it because it's in a different context practical for their financial reasons. No one, the one who moves out cannot afford rental or somewhere else and to split the house,
Yeah.
to sell the property. It's got its whole legal logistics and it's a whole mess. And so a lot of people don't actually then opt to get divorced.
Yeah.
They get to stay in for that comfort. They might not be in love or happy with the person anymore, but they have to stay in it for logistical reasons. So it's quite difficult.
So viewers, it would be interesting to know, Bak en I would love to know, as jy jouself vind in daai situasie, werk dit eintlik vir jou?
Does it work?
You know? Yeah, it would be very interesting because I know it is very common, it is on the increase, and but so is the divorce rate. It is so high, you know. And I think a lot, Malha's gaan nou weer laag, but to a very large degree, it's got a lot to do with the intimacy department, you know.
Yeah, but
so
I mean, like I said, even if the intimacy is not the best, it's not, relationships it's not just based on intimacy. It's based on so many factors, but I think the sad part is that people will then have intimacy, which we were discussing 3 weeks ago. People will have intimacy, and not under duress, but more for duty.
yeah.
So it's your duty, it is something that you're obligated to do, it's your partner, but it's not romance, it's not romantic,
Yeah.
you know.
Maar so, precies wat ik mentioned het view is that it becomes wham bam thank you ma'am, you know, you know, just get the job done, just get it over with, and you know, again, a lot to do with obligation and also, weer eens soos Baakie genoem het, financial constraints. So, I need the moolah, I cannot get a move on, and this is why I tell females, ladies, vrouwmense, dit is so ontsettend belangrik. You've got to empower, you've got to upskill yourself, you've got to be financially stable, you know, because whichever way we look at it, when you are financially stable, you become empowered. You can, you know, make those necessary decisions. You can get a move on. You can get sanity, peace of mind, you know. So it plays a vital role, pivotal role.
Yeah, so there's a lot of women in our communities that have nothing to fall back on, and it's not always about education, whether you're an entrepreneur or whatever. And so because you are stuck in that situation where you have nothing to fall back on,
Precies.
you find that you most probably more, gravitate more towards staying in the relationship. So we're not advocating divorce. What we are saying is that the idea of divorce is not even on the table, because just the idea of living on your own, moving out, if he doesn't move out, you gotta move out, and just as unhappy as you are, just the whole logistics around it makes it impossible for that person to make it an option.
Also, viewers, hold in mind that, you know, when you go through that divorce, it is so traumatic. So you're looking at fragmented emotions, you're looking at, you know, a person, again, who am I? Back to the workshop next week, Saturday. Dit is so belangrik om jouself te ken, om jouself te ontdek. So let's quickly move on.
Mazee said, I grew so much when I got divorced, financially better off.
Okay.
And Mo said, we found that opening up our marriage is a lot more fun and stops all the insecurities.
Ooh, okay.
So you can have a counter effect to that. So normally you'll find that for some people, which he was implying as well, is that when you get divorced, you will find that a lot of people can maybe do financially better because there's not that constraints. But for some other people, it then has the opposite effect. They're doing worse.
Yeah.
And what Adiela was saying earlier on is so correct, is that when you get divorced, people do not understand, and this is why people are afraid to get divorced. Because it's not a light thing. You'll find that the logistics around the divorce is so hectic, and not just the emotional constraints, just the logistics around it. It makes people really regret or feel, what have I done? And a lot of people that I know that have recently got divorced, we warned them that this would be the outcome, and now it's a lot for them to be. It's not just the finances, it's this whole emotional blackmail, you know, in each other's face, using the kids as collateral damage or manipulation. And when people get divorced, they are so oblivious to all of that drama that will exist in the next few months post the divorce. And only then it gets to a stage where it gets a bit better, when the party that was left, it's always the party that was left, male or female, that takes it the hardest, and they make the divorce not a very smooth transition.
Yeah, let's quickly move on.
Milky Daddy says, off topic, salam auntie icon, and then he sent 2 gifts, and then she said,
that is you?
Milky Daddy.
Milky Daddy, a ticket coming your way, darling. So, guys and dolls, you know,
Milky Daddy.
Yeah.
Thank you for the gift.
I thought it was Milk the Daddy. Milky Daddy.
Milk the Daddy. Okay. So, let's quickly move on.
Z said it is a traumatic experience for sure.
Okay. So let's hear it from Milky Daddy. Z, 1 ticket coming your way too, darling. So remember, 5 tickets sponsored by Adiela and San Akimdin of Akimdin Taxis. In total, when I gave away 27. Okay? And Barky and I, Salama, and the 3 of us were sitting and were chatting and were saying, you know, we haven't had a workshop in a while, but we are so aware of the financial constraints. It's been a very difficult period for everybody, for businesses, for individuals, and we thought, you know what, we're just going to give it away. I'm very fortunate. I've got very,
amazing for you.
Amazing. So thank you to all those guys for, you know, donating those tickets and for making it possible for you guys to attend. So 3 more tickets up for grab to our workshop next week, Saturday. And of course, once again,
So what a lot of people think, Adiela, when people stay in a relationship, a lot of people think they try to make it work.
Yeah.
But what a lot of people are not aware of is that you don't actually have a choice. Because the logistics, just looking at all the logistics that you're going to go through, your family, financial constraints, the kids, the drama of the person that you're leaving who's not letting go, there's no detachment. And if you look at that endless logistical drama, the person just don't have the mental capacity to deal with it without support, obviously.
Just a question to Milky Daddy, because he's one of our new followers and new viewers, and also to Z. Z's new, right? So just to you, Milky Daddy, you know, what was your experience like, and how exactly did you handle that? So moving forward, what is your advice to other people going through a divorce, separation, or you know, sometimes people just feel like taking a break, time out, before they actually move on to that very big decision, you know? So yeah, but keep it rolling. Wayne on the topic, be part of the conversation. As you know, net unpersuaded, we're chatting about why A, divorce is so rife, B, why men and women end up having affairs, and C, why is it that they, you know, more than often you find that the kids bear the brunt, because you know, en dis hoekom baie vroumense, veral die vrouens, they stay in these what Barker always refer to as the toxic relationships, you know. Dis moeilik.
I think we can generally relate to why the average, and I'm generalizing, male would consider having an affair. I mean, if there's no, you know, foundation.
Hold that thought for a moment. Let's quickly move on.
Milky Daddy just said, I can't contribute to the conversation. I've never been married.
Oh,
It was Z.
okay.
You confused
Okay.
it with Z. Z was the one that
okay.
went through divorce.
Oh, all right.
It was not Infidelity.
Okay.
It was, I think, Z.
All right.
So what I'm saying is that it's always understandable why males tend to go this route because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
a generalization.
You know, a very interesting discussion I had, men that go through menopause, and women are not really aware of that. So all of a sudden they have on these biker jackets and they go, have the hair.
Are you talking about the women or the men?
Men go through menopause as well, Mr. McCree. And so a lot of people are not aware of that, They go through so many different stages. Have you been through it?
No, that's what I'm thinking what you're talking about.
Sometimes they think, I feel so depressed.
I think it's a bit of a midlife
low.
crisis. I think it's more of a midlife crisis. The problem with a lot of males today is when they get to a certain age, they have financial equity. And they've been struggling in their 20s to establish themselves. In the 30s, they have a home. They sustain their home, paying off a bond, blah, blah, blah. In their 40s, and when they get to their mid-40s, they have sustainability, they've accomplished something, they're on a higher plateau, financial plateau, and things are more accessible, and this is when it's the most dangerous, because they can afford many things, but they can also afford stupid things. And so what they do is they tend to go into a psyche of what we call fixated in the stages that they were left out. And so they want to relive these stages, like party, go out, never meet, have another girl, and they do a couple of stupid things. And also your morality gets tested at its highest level.
Big time.
At the stage when you have like power.
Yeah.
And so you can you can turn
for men and women.
Yeah, so the power can make you disillusioned, delusional about what your position is in the marriage and all of that, and then suddenly you start having a couple of weird ideas, and I mean like in the movies they talk about the bucket list, and suddenly people in their late 40s, mid 40s, everybody's talking about this is on my bucket list and that's on my bucket list, and it's all people that has some level of void or fixation in them, where they are still trying to. Nobody's thinking of death, obviously. We're not going to go on a doom and gloom aspect of it. But it's almost like there's this idea, this ideology that, we can still do more, accomplish more, build a double story. So even though in your mid-40s, you'll find these people are just, it's the chase, man. And it never
It's the high, it's the adrenaline, it's all of that.
And it makes them feel good, it's powerful. And having another woman is powerful. And for men going into shops or wherever they go, this idea of still testing, sharpening their sword,
testing the water,
testing to see if a young lady in her late 20s or mid 20s, if you can actually, like we call it, bowl her or talk to her and flirt with her, and she's all excited about it. And it's all this little stuff that's starting to happen to you, and you get delusional.
So luister. Ek wil nou van die ouens hoor vanaand, besides Milky Daddy, ek wil hoor van die ouens, is dit waar, have you gone through that stage? Have you experienced the menopause? Let's hear it from the next one.
Milky says, we all just need to be nice to one another and communicate openly, effectively, and mostly with respect. Z said it's called a midlife crisis to menopause. And then Farida said, sometimes you find out too late how toxic the other partner is. And Mo said the reason I got was because I don't listen. I take his masculinity away and I make him feel needed where I don't.
That.
And then
that's a great start.
So this is just to add to what Mo said. This is also in counseling. This is also a recipe for infidelity or for the marriage to disconnect. If you take a man's masculinity away too much, he might not leave you, but there's somebody else in his life at work
that's going to do that.
That's going to
put him on a pedestal
and going to admire him and make him feel good.
Danger zone.
While you are making him constantly not feel good. And who
doesn't want that? You make him feel crappy.
Or it's
Milky Dad
not
is
good
making
enough.
me feel
You
hoo-ha,
know,
so.
it's not even about making somebody feel crap. You know, sometimes infidelity doesn't always have their foundation in making people feel crap and fighting in that. It can be as simple on a passive level of you not just respecting the person, or you basically undermining the person in a silent way, or neglecting the person. I mean, neglect for women is a massive thing. If a male neglects a woman because she thrives on attention, you know, so if they won't survive without levels of attention. And so if you neglect your woman and some other guy comes along and he gives the perception that he cares, and he makes more effort to give attention, obviously to get something else at some point. And so they sustain that. And then your situation is also in danger. The woman will, you know, feed off that or become attracted to that.
You must remember, I love the fact that you've mentioned that they want something else at a later stage. Because women, they going through that stage, they are very vulnerable. Let's hear it from the next one.
Farida says also the other partner wants to control the other one. And then Z said to Mo, people like to feel needed. And Mo said to Z, unfortunately I'm way too independent. If he couldn't see to something, I'll do it.
If I do what?
If he couldn't see to something, she will do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super independent women.
So
okay.
some women, they have this ability to not, it's not about overlooking what's happening from the male side, but what they can do is they're just so set in doing their own thing that they can cut off emotionally and just continue. For somebody who's a hopeless romantic, I was watching a show last night, and I actually replied to the show. The person never replied back yet, and she was teaching a whole lot of women, because she cheated on her husband, and she was teaching a whole lot of women what it takes to get the guy to forgive you, and which her husband did. Her husband forgave her, and now, you know, and they're back together, and she was trying, and a lot of women were saying it didn't work for them, and then I just gave a comment, and I was saying, and I never received a reply because it was actually now 2 days now. And I was saying, it's not that simple, it is complicated. At the end of the day, the male psyche, he doesn't deal well with infidelity in the context of, you know, there's cyber infidelity. There's a difference between you chatting to another guy at work, but the minute he touched you, the minute you guys were physically intimate, the guy can never get it out of his head. So women don't seem to understand.
Because you get down to doing it and you're thinking,
so you can forgive you, just to end off on that, he can forgive you. But a woman, again, the infidelity context is different. If she finds out that you were sleeping with another woman, she's hurt, she's betrayed. However, she's able to forgive you psychologically on one condition: you didn't love that woman or cared for her.
Yeah, that is a fact.
So it's so weird how the scenario is the opposite. For the male, we don't care if you like the guy or didn't like the guy. The fact that you had sex with him, it's just impossible for you to mentally. You get the odd.
And that is why a lot of these men, they grab into actually move on.
They can't. They'll try to move on because they've got too much to lose. But the guy who can actually do it, which is the girl who did the show, her guy could do it because he was living in a box and is pragmatic. Which means he's capable of doing that. He's capable of structuring himself, but your basic average guy won't be able to do it.
Let's quickly move on.
Z said, I wanted my ex to challenge me, but sadly that did not happen.
She wanted the ex to?
Challenge her.
Okay.
So, you know, I also watched another show the other day, and this girl was saying, I need to be challenged. I am one of those women that want to be challenged. So I don't need, and it was quite funny because the response was hectic. So she said, I want an alpha male who can handle me, because I'm one of those, like some of your friends that you always talk about. But then she made a cynical remark. She said, I need a double alpha male to deal with me, because I will chow you up for breakfast. But there is no such context as double alpha male, but what she was implying is that she needs a strong man. A man that can endure a lot.
Look, a lot of females, you know, for years, all my pals have been single, and I couldn't understand. I kept simple. I kept saying, girls, I don't get it, because they're gorgeous. They're super ambitious. They're wealthy. They've got everything going for them. So
They're wealthy. So why are they looking for money?
moet jy altyd so versin wees. So, and I could never really understand, because I would always say to the girls, you know what, should my husband, God forbid, pass on, if anything must happen, if I get divorced, I will get married again very soon. That didn't happen because I now found myself in the same position where, it's not that easy as I thought.
Why don't you
know?
tell the people it's because it's the wrong dudes that
I know. And you know, you're big on putting your energy out there. So I have to find very young guys coming on to me like 28, 32, 35. And I said, you know, I always joke with them. I say, darlings, I don't change nappies, you know. But anyway, and so the older guys, the dilemma. The older guys, ek hoop hulle luister. I mean, these are your married men that want a second wife, you know.
Can I teach the women why the older guys are not going for you? And they're going for younger women.
Most of them are, that is the fact.
It's not that younger women are prettier or any of that stuff. Even though there's this analogy that a younger woman is better and all of that. The older woman wants an established guy, but the established guy is not going to win in this relationship. Because the thing is, he's established himself.
Power struggle.
He's established himself over X amount of years, working 25 years in a trade or in a company, 30 years in a company. He's now established himself, he's got financial security, and he's got to give that up for you, who's not putting a lot on the table.
Yeah.
So he's thinking to himself, what am I getting? What is the return on the investment for me to spend, let's say, 500 to 1,000 bucks a day on you? Because I've got financial equity or I'm financially secure. And so the return on the investment in his mind is not good for me protecting an older woman or a woman, let's say, in her 40s, late 40s, early 50s, whatever.
Yeah.
But he knows a young woman, even though she's supposedly going to eat him out, he knows he can control the situation. He can back off anytime, walk away, and plus he's getting a younger woman. So a lot of older women are not happy with this context, but this is why older men won't tell you this. They are not going to invest in you unless it's really, really worth it. Because at the end of the day, they won't get the return on the investment. And also, just to end off, also what you, whoever's listening, older women make the biggest mistake, that's why these guys won't take you as well, is that your demands are actually quite high. Even though you've reached a stage in your life where you are now in your late 40s, 50s, early 50s, all of that, and you're like, you've gone through the mill, you've had kids, your kids are big already, but I don't mean it in a rude way to say you're kind of a bit full of shit as well, because the thing is, you know what you want, you know who you are, you've established yourself as well as a woman. You can't be bamboozled in that. So that also poses a threat to the guy. It's like you're like literally too much.
Powerful.
You know, you're too much. So what is he gaining out of this relationship if you're so, you know, established and well-rounded and all of that?
Viewers, dit lyk soos ons gaan doen part 3 van hierdie show. There's so much ground to cover. I mean, we haven't touched on half of the things, Sparky. So, Thursday night part 3. So a lot of viewers don't know that we've now moved on to every Monday and every Thursday night. So, donderdag aan, part 3. But if you're in need of a session with Councillor Barky McCree, connect with him on 082 3 082 346 5974. That's 082 346 5974. And for any tickets to the workshop,
the other 3 will
connect 081 789 1094. So, yeah, man, I'm going to say bye-bye. Barky's got this effect in me. It must be the germs that he brings along.
I think I'm not the one that's sick here.
Tot die volgende uitgawe. Ciao, ciao. And remember, if you have any questions, any hot topics, drop me an email. That's Adiela.f @gmail.com. .fortune1.
She desperately needs a guy to take her out on a date, man. You guys recommend somebody nice to take her out on a date, but make sure he's got
I'm not interested.
the moolah.
Simple. You know, next on Thursday night, I want the guys to actually be a bit more vocal. Because I know guys are listening, but I don't know, for some reason, they don't really want to vocalize and talk about the emotions and what it is that they want. It would be very interesting to hear from the men on Thursday.
And we can be very emotional.
I know.
We're so vulnerable.
And gullible at times. Ciao, ciao. Bye-bye.